services for that contract.
All right, everybody, we'll go ahead and get the regular meeting of the St. Mary's County Metropolitan Commission for July 24, 2025 started. Good afternoon, everyone. Before we begin the formal proceedings today, it's with great sadness that we announce that one of our own employees recently passed away on June 28, 2025. Franklin Kane was taken from us and his family too early, and we celebrate the time we were able to share with him. So in honor of his memory, please join us in a brief moment of silence. Thank you. Need approval of the agenda. Motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve
I'll second.
the agenda.
Got a motion, I have a second.
Second.
Any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? So moved. Has everybody had a chance to review the minutes of the last meeting? Are there any corrections? If not, I need a motion to approve the June 18, 2025 meeting minutes.
I'll make that motion to approve the meeting minutes from June 18th, 2025.
I need a second.
I'll second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion or corrections? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? So moved. I will move on to the consent agenda. Has everybody had a chance to review materials contained in the consent agenda? If everybody's good with it, I need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second. Need a second?
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on the consent agenda? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion so moved. Move on to new business. The first thing is the water use billing adjustments.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. First off, congratulations and welcome to new Chairman Gould and new Vice Chairman Dugan.
Thank you,
So
sir.
before we get started, we thought that'd be appropriate. Your first meeting. This is also our new CFO's first meeting. So I'm going to sit up here for the first few, give him any assistance he needs, but I don't think he'll need any.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon, Commissioners. The first new business item, number one, is from what I understand, that is coming quite regularly here and there, where two residents have requested to be on the public meeting agenda seeking relief for excessive water usage that would require adjustments greater than $500. The two properties, one is located on Searfox Court in Lexington Park. The other is Abyss Street in Hollywood, Maryland. And basically, the first one, from what I gathered, first, our billing staff did their due diligence to make sure that that they do qualify for the relief. So we contacted the customer on March 7th after receiving the March 6th meter reading, and it indicated an unusually high usage of gallons, 86,500 per se. That's well above the property's average of approximately 11,000 gallons. Due to financial difficulties, the resident was unable to have a plumber visit the property until the end of April. When the plumber did inspect the home, the plumber identified the leak down in the downstairs bathroom. It seemed to be a faulty flapper in the toilet. So that was corrected immediately, and the next billing process, the next billing was back to normal. The second, well, actually, before I go there, we, in order to address the requested for the adjustment, we have the two options. Option one is to provide no release or adjustment at this time and leave the account as billed by the staff for April 2025 and May 2025, but also offer the customer a reasonable payment arrangement if necessary. We also have option two, for this particular one to pay the full amount of water usage, but no higher than tier two. resulting in a usage charges of $320.02 for February 2025, $316.83 for March 2025, resulting in a total bill of $443.42 for April and $440.23 in May, which is the total adjustment of the $503.54. So our recommended action, the staff recommends that the board approve option 2, reducing the usage charges for the April 2025 bill by $253.37 and $250.18 for the May 2025 bill, which totals $503.54. The second,
Let's,
oh, yes,
let's,
sir.
do each one.
You can do each one separately, yes, sir.
If we could, please,
Yes,
thank
sir.
you.
Discussion on this.
Need a motion? So got a motion? Oh, I'm sorry.
So, question, you commented that they were unable, due to financial reasons, to get a plumber. Do we have the ability with our loan setups to possibly offer that to them through that program at all, or is that not plausible?
The connection incentive programs that we have?
Yeah, I'm just
The warranty
again-
program.
You know, it's almost like a snowball effect. The guy doesn't have the money to pay the plumber then doesn't come out till later. Now he's got a greater bill, and, you know, it's a continuing do loop there or whatever. That I'm just looking at other ways for us to help mitigate it, and obviously we're doing this.
Yeah, we don't have the difficulty, we don't want to be liable for any repairs either, but.
No, I meant more of from a loan perspective versus. And
The payment plans are actually, I want to say they're like student loans, but the payment plans are pretty reasonable, and based on their financial situation, we adjust those payment plans. It's not like you have to do 50% today and 50%, but you do have to catch up.
No, mine more is there an ability to be able to do that prior to saying you can use this to get your plumber here now, so that it doesn't wait another month or whatever. So,
You mean a contract plumbers that we have?
again, more of the mechanism with the financing, and it might not be a way to do that, but I'm just asking. So.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure that that's something that we would entertain, but
Okay.
we can look at it. It's really on the obligation of the homeowner to get a plumber out there, and it's
No,
the plumber's availability.
Yeah, I got no issue with that at all. It's more of, is there avenues that we can be proactive in the sense of helping not pay for it, but help them finance it, you know, so.
Helping them get it fixed faster.
Anyway,
Yeah, I think we're in an.
and I know that's not the norm when we're using having the
It is, and we're in an
adjustments.
awkward position, and Commissioner Manning is aware, we can't really recommend anybody, we can only provide lists. For example, there is a huge list of churches and other nonprofit organizations that do offer to help pay. We have several repeat customers who can't pay their bills at all, and they use those charitable organizations to pay. We publish and keep that updated on our website, that entire list. It is used fairly regularly by some of our repeat customers. That is one place that they can go to if they're having financial difficulty. We think that's reasonable. We don't want to start listing contractors because there are so many of them that we don't even know that aren't even published.
Right.
But that website, that information we have on our website is actually pretty useful when it comes to helping people pay. And if they can prove to that organization that they do need it, which doesn't take a lot, they will offer one-time assistance, and in many cases, multiple-time assistance.
Do we have any kind of helpline through maintenance or anything where somebody might say, you have a toilet downstairs, maybe if you turned off, do you hear water run? I don't know, it seems very simple to me because I understand all of this
Well,
stuff.
most of these cases, especially the second one's 2 toilets, so it's going to be double the number. The first one's only 1. Most of these people don't realize it.
Right, that's
We
what I'm
see
saying.
the excessive use, and we're the people that initiate the phone calls, and we're the ones that tell them, try the dye tablets. We come out and actually help them try to find those leaks. So it's actually coming from this side, not this way. So our problem sometimes is getting a hold of the customer, not the other way around. So it's usually us
Right.
that has the first shot across the bow because we see the increased usage before they see it on their bill.
Well, Keith's talking about the time since it was identified, a whole nother month going to three gallons a minute. If there was someone that could say, turn off all your toilets unless you're I don't know, I'm kind of empathetic with him. Here's a person who can't pay anyway. And what else can we do? When the initial call was made, is that when they say, drop tablets in or turn them off? Or I'm thinking like a helpline or a forum area. I may
We
be
offer-
totally out of line, but.
Our operations staff gets a lot of those calls. They do offer a lot of that verbal assistance over the phone.
Okay,
They really do. In fact, they do some things, what I would consider above and beyond by actually entering into the houses sometimes and finding those leaks. We're already pushing the envelope. That's just my opinion. I'm not the lawyer in the house, but we are pushing the envelope
right.
as far as responsibilities. And we do a little extra. But to Keith's point, we can point some of the people that are claiming to have financial difficulty in the direction of those nonprofits. Because we don't ask them to prove that they're having financial difficulty. That was just the reason they gave for it taking so long, which was coupled with the request for the relief. So I think it was more of a, can you help me out in some fashion? And of course we can. So,
Okay.
Anybody else?
Any further questions?
I'd entertain a motion.
I can read this here. Move that the commission approve option 2 in the amount of $443.42 owed for the April 2025 bill and $440.23 for the May 2025 bill for a combined billing total of $883.65, which represents a total reduction of $503.54.
I have a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
I have a second. Is there any further discussion on it? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion point 1 is approved.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
The second property is located on Fifth Street in Hollywood, Maryland. This property involved 2 toilets, and there was no financial difficulties with that was mentioned. With that, the amounts are different, of course, 2 months worth of, that they had to, and they have replaced the 2 toilets. The staff recommends the board approve option 2 on this one. Pay the full amount. The option is pay full amount of water usage, but no higher than tier 2, resulting in usage charges of $437.64 for the February 2025 bill and March 2025 bill, $741.73, resulting in a total bill of $561.04 for March and $865.13 for April, which is a total adjustment of $1,046.07. Staff recommends the board approve option 2, reducing the usage charges for March 2025 bill by $370.99, $675.08 for April 2025 bill, for a total bill reduction of $1,046.07.
Any discussion? Entertain a motion.
I'll make it, I move that the commission approve option 2 in the amount of $561.04 owed for the March 2025 bill and $865.13 for the April 2025 bill for a combined billing total of $1,426.17, which represents a total reduction of $1,046.07.
I have a motion. Can I get a second?
I'll second that.
I have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? So moved. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I believe you're up for the amendments to policy number
Yes, sir.
2303.
Item business number 2, commissioners on new business item number 2 policy, FIN 23-03 signature authority. I've taken a look at the current continuation of operations for the signature and delegation authority, and we're requesting a few changes. And the strikeouts in the package that you received represent each one. So we're asking, correcting the current position titles for primary, secondary, and tertiary signature authorities presented by the staff effective immediately.
So I'm just seeing name changes, basically. That's all we're looking at.
Yes, sir. Other than, if you notice the wastewater treatment superintendent, under the chief of facilities and operations, that entire section there would be wastewater collection superintendent. We're striking out wastewater treatment senior superintendent. Name change again, laboratory supervisor, we're changing that to superintendent. And other than that, pretty much name changes, yes, sir.
Just a reconciliation between the titles and our policy.
Anybody else got anything? Any further discussion? Entertain a motion.
I move that the commission approve and adopt the amendments to the signature authority continuity of operations policy number FIN 23-03 as presented by staff, which shall take effect immediately.
I have a motion. Can we get a second?
A second.
Have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? So moved. And you're up for 1302.
Yes, sir. Once again, new business item number 3, special consideration and exemption for legal services. And Commissioners, detailed in the memo in your packages dated July 15, 2025. As you're aware, we have procured outside general counsel services since 2017. Prior to that time, Metcom had a dedicated full-time employee. Prior to that period, Metcom had a legal counselor, and if I'm not mistaken, on my research, Commissioner Polisi, if I'm correct, saying your name correct, you were currently.
Might have been the
serving
first
at-
one part-time.
Right. So it's been a while, right? The provisions in the special considerations and exemptions section of the procurement policy, FIN 13-02, regarding the procurement of legal services were drafted many years ago when Metcom utilized an in-house legal counsel. At that time, the manual allowed the general in-house counsel, the employee, to procure specialized legal services outside of the normal procurement process. Subsequently, January 9th, 2014, the board adopted policy FIN 14-02 regarding the procurement of outside legal counsel. It has been approximately 8 years since the in-house position was abolished, and the commission has primarily utilized outside counsel, such as R.C. Beeper and Gunnar Cook. In 2021, the board suggested that the commission competitively bid its legal services and provide standard contract extensions options over the years as we do other service type contractors. The table that I provided, it represents the historical budget to actual expenditures under the current legal services contract. Our current legal is involved in a state mandated consent decree, which has both operating and capital implications, and also negotiating negligence claims, and may be involved in possible litigation associated with the same. It could be easily argued that these legal services are specialized, as the commission does not have an in-house position, FTE, that serves the general counsel's role. In order to maintain flexibility into the future, the staff is suggesting the language in the attachment A that was provided, to be presented for consideration and approval by the board. The suggested language would provide the commission with the greatest level of flexibility and places the board in a position to provide direction for the commission's legal representation. And that text, on my research, it will be consistent with the local code, which is 113-2C-C2, the board policy FIN-14-2, and also section 5.1.3 of the commission bylaws. We have 2 motions for your consideration attached.
So I'm a little slow here. Could you tell me what's the difference with the amendment policy 1302 and the legal policy of 1402 on the FIN side?
I think they should both be 1302.
Okay, I didn't know if one was intended to be the overall procurement one and the other one was intended to be just the legal side of it.
I'm thinking both.
No, they're both the procurement
They're both.
manual. They're both the
Okay.
procurement manual.
We have an either or. Is there a recommendation?
Yeah, there's two motions. The first involves changing the procurement policy with the language that's provided that allows the board to make a decision on whether they want to contract this out or have inside counsel represented like an FTE. It gives you that flexibility. It's your legal counsel, the commission's legal counsel, so you should have that flexibility. As we stated earlier, when you go back in time, we have operated under both. We've had a part-time legal counsel, we've had an FTE position, we've had outside legal counsel. We've procured through a RFP process, and we've procured as a sole source. We've done all of those. We've procured for specialized services as well. So in order to keep that flexibility and actually have policy that reflects how you operate, we're recommending that language in both cases. The difference between the two, obviously, is one is continue utilizing our current contractor, our current vendor, offer him an additional 1-year extension because of all his involvement with litigation. The concept there being if we were to procure outside legal counsel and go through that process, we still might want to retain the current vendor, and then we'd have him on retainer as well as a new person on retainer. The new person would give us some advice on capital and operating budget, legalese, if you will, but a lot of those are tied into our consent decree, so there'd be some duplication as well. The difference between the two motions, again, is one, offer a 1-year extension to the current contract. Mr. Beaver or Gunnar Cook's contract with us expires in November. The reason we came in early is because it typically takes that long to go through the process. The process requires 2 board members to be on the panel to review and interview. We go through the cost responsibilities, and we go through the technical reviews as well. Or to offer a 1-year extension and return again next year and ask the same questions again. Do you want to go back out on the street, or do you want to procure an additional year with the current vendor? Those are the two options. As far as recommendations, just at this point in time, from a continuity standpoint, it might be the best idea to offer a 1-year extension and head in that direction. It is limited to 1 year as opposed to a multi-year extension. The motion also includes us coming back, so you know what those dollars and cents are. It'd be unfair to provide you with a motion that was open-ended in that regard. Tanya can probably speak if she's here to the number of vendors. The last 2 times we've gone out on the street, the lowest responsive and responsible bidder has been the same entity on 2 occasions. We don't get a lot of local representation, submittals. There's not enough work really for us. And the few that we did get that were somewhat competitive were from Baltimore and more north. They weren't very competitive, not only in terms of price, but their ability to be able to get down here for meetings, and just their travel back and forth was a cost that we would have to afford in our budget as well. If you look at what we spend on legal services, that's why we provided you with the chart. We thought that question would come up. And the majority of the expenditures that we have on an annual basis are all in the monthly stipend. There's very few services outside of that other than litigation and some other specialized services. Currently, we have a $6,010 per month retainer fee, and almost all of our services are provided with that. So, recommendation-wise, I think that was a long way of saying a 1-year extension, just given where we are, would seem to be the most appropriate to us. But we did want to return back to you again next year with those same options.
Being the lawyer that's on the commission, I would suggest you invoke a long-standing legal concept If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
We procured legal services in a plethora of ways, so the idea is to get the manual to be consistent with that, and still to provide the commission with those options. Maybe not on an annual basis, because, for example, last time we procured these services, it was a base year and 3 option years. We still brought the option years to you for your concurrence. Depends on the motion that we provide. It's either approve all subsequent, or it's just the base year.
So I have a question.
Yes, sir.
So I know we're talking about a 1-year extension on the current contract. And I'm not gonna put Mr. Beaver on the shelf to ask this question, you'll probably answer it. In the future, would it be more beneficial for us to look at 3 years as opposed to 1, locking Gunner and
Well,
so
your,
forth into,
your standard services contract would be a base year with 3 option years. You can obviously amend the motion, but we're gonna bring this back after the first extension. We only have between now and November. I didn't want to necessarily put Chris in a position to give us a commitment to the next 4 years. But he probably can easily, as I'll speak for him, give you a commitment for the next 1. But when we bring it back next year, absolutely, we can bring it back in that
I'm
function.
just I mean, not looking at doing that now, but when the year's up, is this something that we should be?
That's
looking
how,
at
that's how
doing?
we would bring it back to you. Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. So it'd be 4, not 3. There'd be a base and 3 options. So not 3, but 4.
Gotcha.
George, can I offer a little bit? So the advantage right now is the continuity of services that we're talking about, which is most important considering some of the things that we have forward. Keeping that continuity of services will be a negotiated cost. That contract was last solicited 4 years ago. It was for fixed pricing for 4 years. So there will be some negotiation to extend the contract for 1 year. We expect that. If you choose to resolicit this in the future, the benefits of doing that, as you were asking, is that we could once again get fixed pricing. So it's a fixed pricing for a 4-year contract for the retainer, and also the additional hourly fee for any services outside of that retainer fee. So that's the benefit of resoliciting it. Year by year, you're more going to be subject to current market conditions, and services can be at a peak. They can also go down. So there are risks and benefits to both approaches. Is that helpful?
Yeah, very much so.
Thank
Well,
you.
talking to Chris, he said we were paying him too much, so remember, when you negotiate with him, I'm a witness to that.
I'll be very transparent. I want to be fully transparent. The contract was, again, solicited 4 years ago. 4 years ago, the retainer fee was fixed, and it had incremental increases for each additional renewal period. However, the hourly rate was flat for all 4 years. So we have not paid any additional increases in the hourly rate in 4-year period. So I want to be transparent with that information.
And to further throw the transparency out there, we started at a retainer of $5,500 a month, and in those 4 years, it only increased by $500, and the hourly rate was $300 an hour. And that
I knew
stayed
I should have
constant.
paid more attention in school.
Which really, from a global standpoint, is not a high
No.
dollar per hour for legal counsel.
And you do have limited attorneys who can really specialize in utilities. That's the biggest challenge. But again, that public solicitation does offer the information that we need, which is what does the market offer? What does our geography offer? And so we want to, again, leave that option up to you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good.
Well,
Any further questions or discussions? I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion, I'm gonna call it option 1. Move that the commission approve and adopt the recommended text amendments to the procurement policy number FIN-13-02, specifically section VC.3 entitled Special Consideration Exemptions, Subpart A, Legal Services, effective August 1, 2025. Further move that the staff be authorized to negotiate a one-year extension to the current contract number 21-14-A and return to the board with a recommendation for award based on a price proposal, which includes a monthly retainer and hourly rate, and to subsequently return to the board with a recommendation for award.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Sorry, Chris.
You're stuck there.
Motion approved. Looks like you two are up again for the advanced metering infrastructure upgrade.
Yes, sir. Up again.
Okay. So this is a fiscal motion, but Sean is new to our team and a lot has transpired with this project. So I was going to go ahead and present that even though it's a fiscal motion. You have a detailed memorandum in your package dated July 15th, 2025, summarizing our advanced metering infrastructure upgrade project. The source of funding for the project was twofold. Back in March 27th, 2025, in order to help expedite this project, you authorized us to purchase 3 gateway devices, that's what they're called, for installation of a pilot project. Ed has brought, Ed and Dwayne both, has brought what a gateway device looks like. These would be affixed on top of our towers.
Break it out, gentlemen, break it out.
Yeah, show the inside of it. Doesn't look like a whole heck of a lot.
Get your Vanna White on.
Got a lot of technology on
We're
the
number one.
inside.
Yeah, it's just a box with a bunch of wires.
Now, 3 of those cost us about $67,000. So he's holding an expensive piece, although it's not very fancy. So the source of that funding was twofold. To get this thing moving by July 1st, we said go ahead and purchase this out of the operating budget, out of the capital equipment expenses. We received all 3 of those. The second part was approving the capital budget that said for the installation and then future rollout of the project, we're going to make this money available July 1st. So $150,000 was approved July 1st. Good news is we already have 2 of these lined up to be installed. One of them was installed on the 17th. We just need electric to it. The other one we have a proposal to. And the third part of the pilot project is also identified as the Hickory Hills Water Tower. So the pilot project is underway. Our procurement manual only allows us, the way it was set up, to approve at our level procurements of $50,000 or less. And it depends on the project that's set up. This particular one is set up that way. The 2 installation proposals together are in excess of $50,000, only by about $2,000. It's not the point, that is the policy. So in order to keep the contractor moving, going on to the second one and then the third one, we're asking for a motion today for you to authorize that particular work that's in excess of $50,000. Real pleased about how quickly staff has moved on this. And one of your questions, I hope, is when we put these 3 devices in the locations you show us on this little map, what's it going to get for us? 32% of our customer base, about 5,800 customers, that's a pretty good pilot project in our highest dense areas. And where we don't have coverage, or we find that we don't have coverage, all we have to do is replace our registers with, I'll say, higher grade cellular type registers. They're about $250 a piece, not very expensive. So we will try to fill in those gaps with those where we don't get the coverage. We hope to roll out this year and see what the results are. You also have funding in, I think, 2030 and 2032 for continuing, or actually every other year for the next 4 years at $150,000 each. If the pilot's successful, we'll continue on with the program and try to populate all of our 28 water systems. If it's not, or we see that gateway devices aren't the answers, purchasing these registers are the answers, we'll use that money in a different way. But $250 a piece goes a lot farther than $250 or $20,000 a piece. But those are designed to pick up about 800 customers, 800 reads at a time. So 800 times 250 registers, this is still the way to go. The propagation study has led us to start this project with these 3 locations, and that's all we're seeking your approval for, is to continue what we started and then get back with you with the results. And that's it in a nutshell. Of course, we'll entertain any questions. Thanks to our staff, we're providing some of the electric service that's needed to help get these things hooked up and operational.
So how long do you think it actually take you to feel the results and feel that you're getting data that you want?
It's going to be relatively short.
I can help.
It's going to be relatively short, within the next month. I mean, we should start seeing the data. They're going to have to come back, calibrate, and do all the things they need to do on their end. But the idea here is to get more instantaneous reads so that our bills are much closely in line with actual usage. Right now, we run 3 different routes with 2 meter techs. It takes them basically a month to do the readings. Those readings are what are used for the following month's bill. So in the case of an excessive use or a water leak, we're 30 days behind already. If we can notice that earlier, we'll be helping the customer a lot more. When we have changes in property ownership, we get a phone call from the settlement. They want to know how much is owed on the bill. We're not like SMECO. We're going to be close pretty soon. We have to have a meter tech go out, do a reading, come back, get back with the settlement company. Usually they're at the table. What staff does in the meantime is we look at the past bills. We tell them to escrow. We pick the highest number. We say escrow $500. You'll be fine. We'll get back with you later. We kind of want to provide a better service there too. So on the customer side, it's going to be much more efficient. From other users who need the data, it's going to be much more efficient. From even our standpoint, with only 2 meter techs, we can use them to repair and replace and do a lot of other things other than just driving through the neighborhoods. Even though we have AMR technology, which is drive-by technology, this is going to be a lot more efficient for them with their time as well.
Do you think this will ever go to rural areas, or it's mostly for populated areas? We're still going to need a meter tech to do the way out parts?
If we can upgrade to some of the cellular registers, that's going to be our next look. Rural areas, the answer to your question is no. We'll still have to ride out to those areas.
Okay.
That's where we are now.
And the meter techs can be put in other jobs rather than losing a job to a
They'll
white
never
box.
lose their job because we only have 2. They will just be able to do the maintenance side of it a lot more efficiently.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
And what are they saying in terms of, I mean, that seems a fairly maintenance-free box, but in terms of upgrades and stuff, are you basically having to upgrade like firmware to it, or what do you have to do?
I mean, it's electronic. I mean, it's actually in a enclosed space, so this is not actually subjected to the outside. The antenna is on the outside. I mean, I would imagine that at some point in time, maybe the cellular satellite antenna, which is actually on top here, may burn out. So, I mean, it's possible that some of the equipment components may fail, like any other electronic piece. Technology is currently changing and always updating itself. So to answer your question, I think this structure here probably will be at least good for 10 years.
And then one other thing, the registers that we've been replacing as we replace our meters have been the registers, these $250 registers we're talking about, have been the upgraded registers. So we have been replacing in anticipation of this day for several years.
And do these registers require power?
They are
They're battery.
Okay.
So the way this works is that this unit actually sends a signal out to the meter. The meter actually wakes up and responds.
And our understanding also is this will be able to give us the capability of telling us which batteries are low, as opposed to having to go out and check all the batteries just based on time. I think that's one of the features this device has.
The new registers actually have, I want to call it a C or B cell battery, but it is not a typical Schwab battery. It is a lithium ion, long life. I think they're expecting 10, 15 years out of that power cell. So, it's not constantly communicating with this thing. It's woken up and then it transmits and then it shuts off. So that's how they get the long life out of the registers.
I know this is step one, but ideally, step whatever number, would be that we've somehow been able to input the historical data. Let's say so-and-so has, he's using 5,000 gallons in June and 6,000 gallons in July. Have we looked at, is there any possibility from the historical data to have that as almost our first blush that somebody has a leak and that type of stuff? So that we have this is kind of, we're doing it now in the sense that we're getting these readings.
Right.
And we're saying, okay, all of a sudden now when we get ready to do the billing, but unfortunately that's 30 days later or whatever.
Now it'll be, now it'll be more instantaneous. Number two, if we come back and recommend this customer portal, customers are going to be able to do a couple of things. One, be self-notified based on their determination of what they feel is excessive use. So our definition may be a little bit higher than theirs, but they'll be able to notify themselves regardless of use. So there's that feature as well.
Well, that's for the
But
ones
historically,
that actually historically would look at their own data, but most of them aren't.
we usually compare to the same month, in the prior year, because during irrigation months like now, you'll typically see a higher than normal use.
Yeah.
We don't just look at it across the board. We kind of compare July's and August's to the prior year when we look
Right.
at
It just seems like it's an electronic ability to facilitate that better.
It will enhance it to a great deal. Yes, sir. Absolutely. You're trying to put in a plug for it. Appreciate it. But yes, it really.
No, I'm trying to take it to step 4. So it's a great opportunity.
It really is.
Again, what other uses can we apply with it?
Mhm.
Any further discussions or questions? Entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion. Move that the commission approve the award, the installation of advanced metering infrastructure, AMI, under the FY 2026 AMI upgrade project number 8262 SR to Core and Main of Martinsburg, West Virginia, in the amount of $26,100, as submitted in the bid proposal dated April 18th, 2025. Further move to authorize and direct staff to sign all documentation relating to subsequent award under the project, including but not limited to the issuance of purchase orders and all approved changes and amendments.
I have a motion. Can I get a second? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? So moved. Moving right along, the Patuxent River Naval Air Station Capacity Management at Marley Taylor. George, I'll be at you.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon,
John, we
Commissioner.
decided to see how long we can keep you up there.
Sean did a very good job. Welcome on board again. Did they tell you that the reductions in those bills come out of your first pay or not? Did they? They didn't tell you. I'll let them handle that. Good job, sir.
Today's a formal follow-up to our capital budget presentations. The main one was on April 22nd of 2025, and a specific presentation we made with the county commissioners at your joint meeting with them on May 20th, 2025. As you'll recall, we gave it was about a 15-page PowerPoint presentation where we talked about St. Mary's College and the base's impact on the capacity at Marley Taylor, because both entities have a lot of reserve capacity that are inherent as part of the relationships that we've had with them since the 1970s. Both are operating agreements. I want to thank personally Michael Oliver. For the base to concur with this, we've had preliminary discussions with them all the way up to the commanding officer, Captain Burfield, and without Mike helping us out, I don't think we'd be where we are today. But the purpose of today's presentation is to obtain your concurrence for forwarding a letter to the base. And there's one minor change, which I don't know if Mike had a chance to get to Laura. I know I haven't. Commanding officers change about every 18 months. Captain Burfield is now departing, and there's a new CO. However, The transition with respect to understanding what this letter is and who the party is that it's going to is fully aware that it's coming and is still in concurrence. So there'll be a minor adjustment to our letter prior to our signature, if you approve it. I think the new captain is Matates or Matthias or Mateus. I don't quite know how to spell the name, but we will. The idea here is between the college and the base, about 500 of EDUs. We hope to be able to get back into our available capacity. Right now, Marley Taylor's at around 1,700, so that's a significant amount of additional capacity, about another 2 or 3 years worth of capacity. This is a really good thing. One thing that you'll note in the letter are some conditions, and one of the conditions is that this be temporary. We say that only because from a resiliency standpoint, they wanted to retain that 4,800 EDUs, and they said, we understand your position, but when and if you ever upgrade Marley Taylor, can you return that 250 EDUs to us? Well, that's not going to happen until sometime in the 2030s, which means it's not a 1 year or 2 year, it's a longer term commitment. We started the conversation with a 1 year and then a 3 year, and then the reality set in once we provided the base with some additional data. And again, thank you, Mike, for stepping into us. So we're just following up with our presentation to the county commissioners. You'll notice they're also copied on the bottom. They do meet with the base at least once or twice a year. They have a joint meeting with the base. They also have a joint meeting with the college. So one of the reasons we did this presentation at our joint meeting was to remind them that they also have an opportunity to talk to the college and the base when they come forward, understanding that Marley Taylor is in our development district and there's not a lot of available capacity, and that anything they can do on our behalf would be helpful as well. So this was the first step, and it's really a big step. It started out with the base. We expect to see the same kind of response from the college. Unfortunately, Ed has reached out to them. They have a new CFO, a new facilities person, a new, I call them chancellor, but that's the wrong terminology. It used to be Dr. Jordan, and now there's a new person in charge there. They've got a change in leadership. It's going to take them a while to get to something like this, but we're going to pursue that as long as we have to get some resolution on it. And that's that in a nutshell, Commissioners. Any other questions you have?
You
Be glad to entertain.
planning to offer the same thing to the college, where you give the EDU
No, not
back?
temporary.
Right.
Not temporary. The last time we asked them to rescind EDUs, they rescinded about 500. 2 years ago, I think they completed their planning for the college, so they know exactly what flows they need. We believe there's at least 300 or more available, but we'll start at this number and we'll crunch the numbers with them. But no, that would be a permanent rescission, not a temporary one. Appreciate the question. That was very astute, sir.
Try to be.
Any other questions or comments, gentlemen? I'd entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion. Move that the commission authorize the commission chairman and executive director to sign a letter requesting the Navy's temporary reallocation of equivalent dwelling units to help secure additional capacity for the Marley Taylor Water Reclamation Facility as presented by staff.
I have a motion. Looking for a second.
I'll second that.
All those in favor, sorry. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? So moved.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, board.
Come on up, Ed. Ed's going to discuss the EPA Safe Drinking Water Act.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. I have three items up for your presentation today. The first item is an informational discussion. It is the Consumer Confidence Report. The Safe Drinking Water Act requires community water systems to produce and deliver a Consumer Confidence Report, also known as an annual drinking water quality report every year. The 2024 Consumer Confidence Report for each of Metcom's 28 water systems have been published on Metcom's website. Every water quality report contains useful information such as sources of the drinking water, water quality results, a list of regulated contaminants and potential health effects from consuming contaminated water. We will continue to publish our consumer confidence reports
on our website. We have everything from 2022 through 2024. This year, there were 2 exceptions. During the 2024 calendar year, there was no analysis performed for nitrates on the Lexington Park water system. This water system has 11 wells in the Aquia aquifer. Due to an operational oversight, staff did not test the sample from the Wildwood production well. All other wells were tested and found below the MCL, which is the maximum contaminant level allowed for nitrates. So again, historically, the level of nitrates are low, less than 2 parts per million. And some of the wells are non-detect. The contaminant level for MCL is 10 parts per million. The second exception was in Country Lakes. Staff collected the required sample for disinfection byproducts in August of 2024. However, due to an equipment malfunction, our contract lab could not process the samples during the required time period. Any samples that are tested for drinking water, for disinfectant byproducts, they can only be sampled in the month of August due to the temperatures around here. Drinking water regulations require stage 2 disinfection byproducts to be sampled in August and no other time of the year. We will resample and retest this August of 2025. Historically, again, the levels for any disinfection byproducts have been low or non-detectable in all of our water systems. With that, I will take any questions.
Didn't we have a problem with the lab last year on the samples?
Last year, we did have some issues. You recall what they were, Dwayne? Dwayne Cantrell is our water superintendent.
Yeah, the lab last year had malfunctions with their equipment. Actually, this year, they tested them, they lost the results still. And they did find them back again in December, but the Country Lakes, they never could get back out of their system.
So also, this was not restricted to our water systems as well. I think they had some issues across the state with this lab. I think MDE has got on that our contract lab. So hopefully those issues are resolved.
Is this a lab that we pay for, and is there other labs that we could be outsourcing to in the future if we're not getting a good result from the?
We are kind of limited in the number of contract labs that we have that can do all these analysis. I think there are 2 labs that are really can do all these analysis, and we've had both labs at one point in time under contract throughout the years.
Thank you.
So where we couldn't get the results for that August, do we still try to get results even though they're not official?
Yes, I resampled in November as soon as they gave us the results of that and set them back in, and we did get them back. The state did accept all of them, but like again, Country Lakes, they did not find the results still, and they wouldn't pay the new one for that. Yes.
But in terms of our comfort level, that we don't really have an issue, it's more of a reporting issue than a physical issue.
Any further questions on this subject? I don't believe there's any motion on this.
No.
So, George, if you'd like to move on to resolution number 2025-04.
So the next item up for your consideration is the sewer use regulations, proposed text amendments. The sewer use ordinance of St. Mary's County has an effective date of October 1st, 1997. Several revisions to the 1997 sewer use regulations were drafted and formally adopted on April 25th, 2019. The latest revision removes a prohibition of swimming pool drainage. The new text includes language that is consistent with MDE's general discharge permit requirement for swimming pools effective December 1st, 2022. Formal advertising and an open public comment period ran for 3 consecutive weeks, and we received no comment. With that, I will take any questions.
So you're just adding the swimming pool drainage language into this?
Excuse me?
You're adding the swimming pool drainage
Yes.
language? That's
The previous text, I think, prohibited all all swimming pool drainage unless directed and approved by the director. So this is adding that language.
Okay.
Any further discussion or comments? I'd entertain a motion.
Get it. Okay, move that the commission approve and adopt resolution number 2025-04 to amend the St. Mary's County Sewer Use Regulation as presented by staff, which is hereby amended effective July 24th, 2025.
Can I get a second?
I second that.
Any further discussion or comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? So moved.
And Commissioners, at the conclusion of this meeting, I'll be distributing a resolution for all of you to sign.
I saw that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners. The last item up for your consideration is the collection system fiscal year 2026 rehabilitation projects. Wacomico Shores number 1 and Esperanza Farms wastewater pump stations. In June of 2025, a bid opening was conducted for the Wacomico Shores wastewater lift station number 1 and Wacomico Shores wastewater lift station number 2 rehab projects, with the combined bids totaling over $950,000. The amount was far more than the amount available in the respective DHCD loans for the funding of each project. We had 282 for Wacomico 1, we had about 263 for Wacomico 2 total, so we had about 540-ish total. In discussions with staff after we received that bid, it was agreed to be far more economical to utilize existing contracts and perform the project management and the project construction in-house. Wacomico Shores number 1 replacement. It is an upgrade located in the Wacomico Shores neighborhood. That station was put in service in early 1970s with subsequent repairs since then. It currently serves approximately 80 properties. Some of the expected rehabilitation work is a new generator pad, moving the Spectro transformers for better vehicle access, fencing around the perimeter. We will also install bypass pumping and a force main isolation valve. We will also install a new vacuum lift pump station on the existing wet well. At the Esperanza Farms wastewater lift station, that upgrade will include installing a new perimeter fence, installing a new emergency generator and a generator pad, and replacing the electrical sub-panel. The reasons why we chose Wacomico Shores number 1 and Esperanza Farms is Esperanza Farms, that project has been kind of sitting out there for a couple of years. I think the first money was allocated in 2022, I believe. There were some issues with the comprehensive water and sewer plan. It was miscategorized, so we had to go back and forth with Lugum to get that properly classified. So that was one of the holdups, and that was why we wanted to move that one forward as well. So again, I think we looked at the bid that was over $950,000. I think our staff is fairly aggressive in pursuing some of these projects. So we'll try to tackle both Wacomico Shores number 1, Esperanza Farms number 1. We'll use our existing contracts to get this work done. And it is expected and estimated that each project will be completed within the intended $500,000 threshold for the emergency repairs and scheduled construction contract. So with that, I will take any questions with this motion.
So was there a new estimate done, even though we're self-performing it?
What we did is we took what was needed at Wacomico Shores 1 and 2. Okay, we put that out to bid. Okay? That combined bid was over like $955,000.
Okay, right.
So then we looked at the money we had available, and we've done a number of these projects in-house, and they really are economical because we can kind of micromanage everything. So we looked at all the projects that we needed to have done, like Esperanza Farms, as I've been kind of sitting out there for a while. We looked at all the funding that we had available for all the projects. We have 5 projects, or actually 4 projects that are outstanding: Wacomico Shores number 1, Wacomico Shores number 2, Esperanza Farms, and Charlotte Hall. So those 4 projects are the ones we want to get done this year. So we're trying to squeeze as much money as we possibly can, as much work out of the money we have allocated for the individual projects.
Again, I guess, but have we kind of done like a litmus test to make sure that yeah, this is the right path, that it's not then gonna be 900,000 of us doing it?
We kind of have, because
Okay.
for the generators, those are all competitively bid. And we have those generators.
Well, we already have all the hard equipment
Right.
in stock that has been purchased out of these or out of these projects, which include the Smith and Lewis package stations and the generators themselves. Esperanza Farms has already had the Smith and Lewis package station installed, and that was done 2 years ago for a price of roughly $50,000 to $60,000. I don't know right off the top of my head, by a contractor, which is kind of along the same guidelines of what we're going to be doing up at Wycomico with the installation of that. Looking at our previous historical data for having generators installed by a contractor is significantly less than what we saw broke out within the bid documents that we received. So we kind of used our historical data for what we've done over the last couple of years and reflected that based off the bid.
That is-
And
That's
Yeah.
great. That's exactly what I was asking.
Yeah.
Very good.
Any further comments or questions? Entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion. Move that the commission authorize staff to obtain pricing and authorize work for the rehabilitation and repair work at the Wycomico Shores Number 1 wastewater pump station and the Esperanza Farms wastewater pump station based on the existing emergency repairs and scheduled construction contract number 23-OC-C, 07-C. Electrical service contract number 23-01-F, and St. Mary's County Government Fencing Contract number SMC-21-BS-111782. Further move to the authorize and direct staff to sign all the documentation relating to this contract, including but not limited to all approved change orders. Phew, made that.
Got it. I got a motion. Got a second.
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? So moved.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you, Ed. All right, Chris.
Oh, boy.
Hold up. Talk about the proposed legislative changes to chapter 113.
So as a follow-up, last year,
Thank you, guys.
as the commission may recall, we had a House bill, it was House Bill 491. It was supported by this board, it was supported by the county commissioners, it was supported by the Southern Maryland delegation. Ultimately, passed unanimously through the House and the Senate, and ultimately was signed by the governor, and those provisions will go into place October 1st of this year. In your memorandum dated July 8th, on the second page under previous board actions, it describes what those legislative changes were. It's funny, every year, there's a name that the Southern Maryland delegation tacks on to the bills. It's a cute little name. This one, for ease of reference, is going to be called, at least from our vantage point, the outdated provisions request. So if we can go through each one of our suggested changes. The county forwarded us the legislative proposal form on the 8th of July to submit any legal changes or legislative changes that we thought we might want to push forward this year in the next upcoming cycle. The first change is a suggested change is to replace an outdated provision with current practice, which is in accordance with Federal Deposit Insurance or FDIC established insurance limits. There's a provision in the code that says not more than a $25,000 bond shall be provided for review and approval by the county commissioners for your corporate treasurer. We haven't used a $25,000 number in several years. We followed the $250,000 provision. $250,000 is more than 25. You technically don't have to change it, but it's such an order of magnitude off. We thought that the law should at least be changed to reflect current practice. The second one has to do with new facilities, studies, and plans. There was a provision in the old 1957 version of this legislation. There wasn't always a comprehensive water and sewer plan. there weren't always no planned service areas designated, and the county commissioners didn't always require public hearings to amend the comprehensive water and sewer plan. As long as the Metropolitan Commission is providing water and sewage facilities in the planned sewer service areas, it's not an issue. Back in many years ago, and I can't tell you how many years ago that was, the Metropolitan Commission was able to extend services beyond areas that the county commissioners didn't want. And this provision was very consistent with that. It basically said anytime Metcom wants to do anything, you need to do an entire public process. Well, we already have a public process called the capital budget that the county approves, that you approve. And if it's not in conformance with the comprehensive water and sewer plan, the projects don't go forward. And if it's not in conformance with the comprehensive water and sewer plan, such as the St. Clement Shores wastewater treatment plant that we're spending $23 million on, you go through the public process. You have the public hearings, you do your appropriations, you go to the state, you amend the comprehensive water and sewer plan, and then you put it in your budget. There's a whole litany of public processes you go through. So the idea here was to basically say, whenever Metcom does studies and plans that are outside the no plan service area, that we go through the public process, which, by the way, we thought about striking this altogether, Chris and I. It'd probably be easier if we just conformed it to current practice than it would be to recommend completely striking. Sometimes the Southern Maryland delegation of the county commissioners think that the commission is maybe trying to get outside of a public, a non-transparency process, and we're not. We're simply saying if we go outside the designated areas that you provide, which would be the brackets of operation, that you go through the public process, which by default you'll go through. Just a couple of words changed in the text was worth 6 or 7 minutes of diatribe by myself. So that's all the point is there. The third one involves multiple sections in our enforcement section. There is a difference between a criminal penalty, a civil infraction, and administrative enforcement remedies. We have some provisions here that are as they were originally written, $100 penalties and $100 fines, which are woefully low and certainly not enough to deter anyone. By the same token, we're not here to lower the hammer on someone with a $2,000 fine that can't even afford to pay their bills. That's not the point. But we do have Maryland Code, in particular, a public utilities article that sets aside what utilities can charge and how they can enforce and what those dollar thresholds are. So I asked Chris to go through that and give us some recommendations out of that article. And he did that. And he is, and I'm comfortable with it, but he is here to address that portion of the requested text amendment.
So again, we're talking about 11321. So just for frame of reference, that particular provision is, as George was saying, is broken down into 3 different basically enforcement provisions. So Section A provides criminal penalties. So it gives the commission the ability to impose a criminal penalty on someone who runs afoul of Section 113, but not just any section of 113. It's actually enumerated specific sections that are, if you violate them, you could be held criminally liable for. As you'll see in the proposed changes, I've gone ahead and firstly clarified that Section A are criminal penalties. Firstly, secondly, increased the fine from the minimum fine from $100 to $1,000. I mean the maximum fine from $100 to $1,000. Just again, keeping up with current. I don't think that's been amended ever. But keeping up with the current standards. I also went back and looked at WSSC. So WSSC is a very comparable organization to what we have here. So it's in keeping with what WSSC does. And then further went a little bit further on to actually lay out those particular sections where criminal penalties could be imposed if those sections are violated. So I put that in there. Then that moves on to Section B, which are called civil infractions. And the reason I'm pointing this out because I was originally confused when I read this section. So civil infractions are basically the enforcement mechanism for the commission where someone violates 113, right? This chapter. It says, okay, Metcom, if someone violates the chapter, these are the things that you can do, right? And once again, it's laid out in here what we can do. We've gone ahead and again, taking the lead from WSSC to provide for kind of a structure, a kind of a graded enforcement structure where first violation is a particular fine, second violation, third violation, and so on. Once again, just what's the point of enforcement? The point of the enforcement is to try to, incentivize people not to continue to violate 113. So that's really what we did. We just went ahead and kind of updated that to make sure it's more current, kept it in keeping with what WSSC has done, and that is our civil infractions, which leads us to Section C, which are administrative enforcement remedies. And once again, I was confused by this initially, but then I thought about it and looked at it. This is the section which allows the commission to enforce its own policies, procedures, the engineering, what is it?
Yeah, the authority that's provided in 113 gives us the ability to put policies, procedures, and SOPs together. Right? That's different than what 113 says. Right. So that's what this enforcement remedy is for.
Right. So if someone violates one of those, then we go to this section and we look for the administrative enforcement remedies here. We're not changing anything in here as far as the actual remedies. We changed an or to an and because that was just improperly. It shouldn't have been. It should never have been an or. It should have been an and.
The and/or is not
the remedies.
How these people operate.
The remedies may include A, B, C, and D, not A, B, C, or D. Right.
Big difference.
Anyway, so that was just a correction, really, for that part. So those are the changes to 113.21. That's probably the biggest set of changes that we made here. But that's it. That's really.
And the reasoning, the civil infractions, which would be violations that we see in Chapter 113, are written. They're graduate. They graduate upwardly. For the second offense being more. But we didn't want that provision just to read no more than 1,000. We thought that might lead to ambiguity in terms of the dollar amounts and how they're assigned. And since 250 was not unreasonable, having it be set and graduated just seems to be a lot easier to administer.
We've learned from our experience in dealing with the legislative delegation that, if we were just to put $1,000, it would catch their attention and they potentially would be say, well, you're trying to put too much of a penalty or create too much authority to put too big of a penalty on people. So by doing the graduated scale, it kind of tempers that a little bit.
So you learn from the experiences of others. Last year, the Liquor Board presented through this process a graduated level of fine structure, and we watched that discussion, and that's why this is being proposed as a graduated, because that was the end result of that discussion. Mm-hmm. And I think it passed.
Well, they ended up not doing a graduated. They ended up just increasing the max fine that they're able to give. But that was part of the discussion. And what they did sort of the same thing that we did. They looked at other jurisdictions to see how they impose their fines and what their fine structures are. And it varies jurisdiction to jurisdiction. Some do have a graduated fine structure, and some just have the large cap. So they ended up going with just the larger cap. But I think the graduated looks a little bit better. It's a little easier to swallow. That's all I have for it, George.
No, it's very simple. Again, it's an outdated text set of amendments. Enforcement is always a tough one when you talk to try to get those pushed forward. I think this is pretty reasonable and easily defensible, and I think we'll have success. And it requires support from the county commissioners as well, and the collective support from both of us. Oftentimes get support from the Southern Maryland delegation, but sometimes revisions get proposed at that level. So this just allows us to submit this to the county commissioners for their consideration. They'll vote on it first before they even present it to the Southern Maryland delegation. And there's a schedule also in your packages. The delegation should be meeting sometime, it looks like October 7th. That's when we would like a board member to attend along with us. It doesn't always happen, but that's a good opportunity for board members to get some exposure to this process. And that's all we had for that topic, Commissioners.
Any discussion? I'll entertain a motion.
I move that the commission approve the legislative text amendments to chapter 113 of the St. Mary's County Code as proposed by staff and reviewed by legal counsel. Further move that the executive director be authorized and directed to submit the 2026 legislative proposal form to the commissioners of St. Mary's County and Delegate Todd Morgan for consideration.
I have a motion. Can I get a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? So moved. Thank you, John.
Well, fingers crossed.
Chris, looks like you're up again.
Yes, sir.
Continuing business. Corporate bylaws amendments.
You're getting me more today than you usually do, so it's a good thing. Yeah, the corporate bylaws, we, as you are aware from our prior meetings, we had decided to just do a few kind of changes. I think what was driving the boat on making changes was to kind of update, at least from my perspective, was to update how the bylaws addressed the election of our chairman and vice chair. So what, I went ahead and updated that section, and in doing that, we took the opportunity to go ahead and make a number of other cleanup changes. So just for your reference, Article 3, Section 3.1, 3.2 deals with the nomination and voting of the chair and vice chair, if you want to see the changes that were made there. We also updated the names. This is another bigger change. We've updated the names that are referenced for the officers, various officers in the commission, just to, once again, for consistency to other documents where the references are.
Which are consistent with what Sean brought to you earlier, so that's why they're on the same time.
Right. So that was a number of set of changes that were made throughout. One of my personal pet peeve corrections was the dreaded and/or, which I just,
And one of the other ones was removing terms that were capitalized. Typically, capitalized terms are defined at the onset of your bylaws or any document. So if they weren't capitalized, they were uncapitalized within the text. And also those that were not capitalized that should have been were also capitalized if they were defined in the front portion of the bylaws.
Correct. Yeah. So we want to, but so mostly, I mean, so just the kind of updating of the nomination and voting process for the chair and vice chair, and updating the names. The remainder is pretty much just cleanup and corrections.
And that was what Chris brought to you probably two meetings ago.
Right.
Last meeting, I brought to you a couple of what we would consider non-substantive changes, but they were substantive. They just involved two titles. The Human Resources Officer was missing in the listing of staff, and meeting attendees, our Chief Informational Officer, was missing. That was substantive for several reasons, because there's an entire section on roles and responsibilities, but we found it interesting that the people listed in the roles and responsibilities section were not either required to attend or included as staff that is needed by the commission. Substantive enough to make it go another 20 days. So we're bringing this back to you the second time, and hopefully the final time, for what we consider overall to be fairly minor amendments to the text.
Okay.
So procedurally, unless the members have any further revisions, suggested revisions, or any issues with the revisions that have been proposed,
20 days have lapsed.
20 days have lapsed, in keeping with requirements for amendment of the bylaws. So, in the absence of any further issues with the proposed amendments or further amendments, we would seek a motion to approve the changes that have been proposed to the bylaw.
Chris, any discussion? Everybody got a chance to go through and look at them all?
For at least 40 days so far.
And/or,
Give you a little extra time.
and/or, yeah.
I actually took a vacation the last meeting, so my 1 week for the year, so.
Don't do it again.
Yeah, no, I won't let that happen again, don't worry. But it gave
I'd
you an
entertain a motion.
extra 20.
I'll make the motion, but I'm probably gonna go cross-eyed with all these numbers.
I'm telling you, I'm looking at this one.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, it's really not necessary.
Move that the amendments to Article 1, Section 1.3, Article 2, Section 2.3.5, 2.3.6, and 2.5, Article 3, Section 3.3.1, 3.3.2, 3.4.1, and 3.4.2, Article 4, Section 4.1, 4.3.3, 4.5.1, 4.5.2, and 4.6. Article 6, Section 6.1, 6.21, 6.3, I'm stop saying dots, 6.42, 6.43, 6.44, and 6.45. Article 7, Section 7.22, 7.23, 7.252, 7.253, and 7.31, and 7.7. Article 8, Section 8.1, Article 9, Section 9.2 of the Commission bylaws presented to the Commission on June 18th, 2025, and given 20 days of review in accordance with Article 9 of the Commission bylaws be hereby approved and allowed to take effect immediately.
Thank you, sir.
Let there be no mistake in what you did.
Next time I'll make it a point to change some extra
Yeah.
provisions.
Got a motion, can we get a second?
Yeah, what you said, I'll say.
You have to read it all.
You have to
I'm
do
not
it.
doing it again, I won't approve it either.
Second amendment 2.3.6.
Second.
Any further discussion or any questions to the motion?
That's crazy.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner. Very good.
Maybe not
Thank
have to
you.
do that one again,
Till the next time.
and/or.
And/or.
Future agenda items. The next tentative meeting date is August 28th, 2025. Commissioners' members' time. Has anybody got anything from the commissioners? Not hearing none, we'll move on. I will solicit a motion to go into executive session.
I make a motion to go into executive session
State the reason, please.
to discuss litigation and personnel matters.
I'll second that motion.
I have a motion and I have a second. All those in favor? Any nays? We will move into executive session. Good? All righty, we'll come out of executive session and go back to the regular meeting. I need approval of the meeting minutes from the executive session back on March 27th, 2025. So I'd entertain a motion for that.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the March 27, 2025 executive session.
Second that motion.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays?
Abstentions? Mr. Hackner, I guess I'll list you as an abstention since you were not on board at that point.
Yeah, you want that, so you can't vote, so abstention. And I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
Make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
Second.
Second.
Any further discussion? Anybody want to stay later? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
And ladies.
Commissioner Antosh, are you feeling okay?
Good.